Hi everyone, I wanted to share a few thoughts from my experience as a Regents and Chancellor Scholar at UC Berkeley. I remember when going into my Regents interview, I had no idea what to expect since there wasn't a ton of information, so hopefully this video is helpful. We'll explore the scholarship benefits, selection process, and some tips for the interview. The Regents and Chancellor Scholarship is the most prestigious scholarship awarded to the top 2% of incoming undergraduate students, whether freshmen or transfer students. For freshman applicants, the decisions for Regents candidates are announced in February, which is much earlier than when normal admissions decisions are released. After the interview, you will be notified of whether you receive the scholarship. There are many faculty involved in the program as well. Faculty usually conduct interviews and or act as faculty advisors. There are a ton of benefits that come with a scholarship, so we'll cover a few of them here. The first being the financial award, which is granted for 8 semesters for freshmen and 4 semesters for transfers. The actual amount varies based on whether you need financial aid, so you receive $2,500 per year without financial aid, or if you do have financial need, your full need determined by the scholarship office will be covered. You also receive $1,000 total of funding during your time at Berkeley for research. You have to apply to specify what you will be using the funding for example, a specific lab. Regent scholars can also have a faculty mentor with faculty members who are involved in the program. This is optional but can be helpful to have a faculty member there just to ask questions or give advice. Another benefit is priority enrollment, which is very, very helpful because popular classes can fill up quickly. The priority enrollment applied to my enrollment time, starting with my second semester of freshman year. You are also guaranteed on campus housing throughout your time as a scholar. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll get your first choice, but you are guaranteed to get an on campus housing offer. I know some scholars who lived in on campus dorms for all 4 years. Some people moved to on campus apartments, and other scholars chose off campus housing after their first year. So it's up to you, but you do have guaranteed housing if you choose that option. There's also an advisor specifically for Regent scholars to answer any questions about financial aid or Berkeley in general. The advisor is really nice and responsive and often sends other campus resources as well. There are a lot of opportunities to network with other scholars and get to know them. There are some events that are hosted throughout the semester, like a faculty mixer. There was also a welcome event for new scholars at the start of the fall semester at the University House, where you can meet the chancellor, other faculty, and other Regents scholars. Finally, Regents scholars are also part of the Regents and Chancellors Scholars Association, or RCSA, which is a student organization. You can apply to be on the various RCSA committees, such as TEDx Berkeley, which runs the amazing TEDx conference at Berkeley on Berkeley campus every year. There's also the Regents Overnight Host Program, which organizes overnight programs for the Regents candidates. And there is also other RCSA committees that host other events for corporations or faculty members or social events, which allow Regents to further interact with one another. So, what is the selection process for the scholarship? There isn't any special application or essay that is needed, but you don't need to really write anything extra besides the normal UC application. And there isn't a explicit selection criteria that is published publicly, but I would recommend to really just focus on your UC application essays because that's where you can just showcase your interests and passions and tell your unique story. If you do become a candidate for the interview, congrats. The interview usually takes place around February or March after the decisions are announced. I've asked a lot of other Regent scholars about their interviews, and their experience really varies and depends on the interviewer, who is usually a professor or faculty. The professor might not be in your major or field, so that's something to keep in mind. I kind of just reviewed my application beforehand to familiarize myself with what I wrote in my UC essays. And the faculty professor asked me if I had any updates with some of my activities and clubs. The professor also asked me about some topics within my area of interest. And sometimes I wasn't familiar with the topic that certain topic we were discussing, but that was totally fine. You don't have to know everything, and you don't have to repeat all of your awards and resume since they do have access to it. They kind of just want to talk and see the person behind the application. I know some friends had interviews where the professor asked their opinion on something or talked about a hobby, and often they give you a chance to ask the professor any questions you might have. So, for example, I asked my interviewer about why Berkeley was a good place to work as faculty and what kind of research the professor was working on. So, just have a good conversation and present yourself well. So hopefully this video helped you gain a little bit more understanding about the Regents and Chancellor Scholarship and the interview process, and thank you for watching.